Hey guys, can everyone hear me okay? Okay, great. Thanks, guys. So I wanted to cover a couple of things. A few people have been struggling, both with the calls that I've been putting out over Twitter and how to use the most basic trade management entry and exit system that I use regarding the zones, specifically in ES. Okay, so the entire methodology is developed around being able to get high odds trades, okay, at a point where it's easy to manage risk and reduces your decision making needs uh, down to where's the proper rotation, where's my exit based on the zone, and where's my exit, my profit exit and my stop exit, right? With having to make as few decisions as possible. So, first of all, let's go over the odds overall. The highest odds of a trade working properly is prior to New York lunch. Okay. The reason for that is we have the maximum amount of participation at that point. We have all of the US trading, we have all of Europe trading. It makes life very easy in terms of liquidity there, right? The second part of that trade, right? The focus is on the first trip into the zone after a proper rotation. So I pulled up a couple of days here. We're going to start looking at today, right? And I'm going to work my way backwards over a couple of days to see how that would have worked out in terms of trading because we're trying to accomplish two things. First of all, yes, we're trying to make money, but most importantly, we're trying to protect our accounts. And since we have no control over what crazy ass moves the market's going to make, all we can do is turn back around and put a management system on what we're going to do. So let's go to today's day, and I'll work my way backwards. Okay. So the first thing that I put in the morning, right, to give an indication of which way the market's going to go, is I talk about things like gap and half gap. Okay. Well, half gap is approximately right here at 1816, right? Full gap is right down here at 1814 and change, right? Here, let's do this right there. And full gap is just below, just above the 1814 3/4, 1815. So let's say it's 1816 and a quarter. We were able to achieve half gap on ES, but unable to get full gap. And then we turned around and went back to the highs and garnered new highs. Okay, so the first thing that told me when we got new highs is first of all, half gap and no full gap. That means buyers are somewhat in control, right? Number one, I need to be a little cautious. The number two thing that we put in place, all right, is the rotation size. The rotation size from here is 1822, right, down to 1816. That's exactly a 6 point rotation. Unfortunately, half gap and gap fill I consider to be aggressive trades. There's no zone there, so no trade developed out of this move. However, it was a 6 point rotation. The market stopped and rotated back up. There's no trade in this zone because we don't get, excuse me, we don't get any move from either side large enough from above or from below, large enough to justify taking a trade here, right? Either way, we're stuck, right? If you took the trade here, you had to take the full rotation back. It would have actually ended up not quite 2 points behind the zone, but it could have easily done that on a full gap fill, right? On the push up from the other side, right? There's no rotation up. This is a 1.5 point move into the zone. So this zone gets eliminated right out of the gate, right? Now, if you're a super trader and you can handle figuring out whether we're going to pause or go from there or do what I did, which was I took a trap trade. What was the definition of a trap trade? I wanted to see if we traded above that 1820 and then we closed back below, which we did right here, right? I took a trap trade here. I don't know if I put this out on Twitter or not. And I started scaling at 1.5 points and I scaled all the way down. I had a little bit left here and it finally got stopped up when it pushed all the way back up. We went back below that 1820 again. I took the trade the second time working against my profits. It got stopped at a new high, and I ended up keeping only about 20% of what I made off the first trade, right? Now, the next trade setup on the was that clear? Does anyone have any questions about that so far, about half gap or full gap? Or was everyone clear on that? Because I know I get going fast. I'll give it 10 seconds. Toby, you're not clear. Okay, you want to ask a question? You can ask it now. I'm happy to clarify. Oh, no question. Okay, good. So moving on, doesn't look like anyone else has any questions. The first zone on this entire chart, right, on my most basic entry and exit methodology is right here, the white zone, okay? We clearly beat the 6-point rotation. I'm going to take the front of the zone. The next rule that comes into place, my pleasure, Dave, no problem. The next area for me to consider doing anything has to be this white zone. There's nothing in between that justifies me taking a trade on my highest odds trades, right? I have other trades. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, right? I have other tricks in my bag. But for the most part, my most basic bread and butter, the trades I run the highest amount of volume on, are these zones by miles and miles. So the next zone I had put out on Twitter, I have it limit order 1826 and a quarter. It sits here for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes is my magic moment, okay? When I get past 25 minutes, I know from years and years of data collection that my trades tend to get busted or have much higher odds of getting busted once they sit there for 25 minutes. Leverage is not your friend. Time is not your friend when you're leveraged, okay? So I get nervous at that point. Occasionally I'll override that gut and say, well, I'm going to stick it out. I think I'm at the very bottom of the range or very top of the range, and I could have a good trade here. And I pay for that sometimes, right? But most of the time when I get to 25 minutes, I'm tightening things up or flattening. Anyone who entered a trade here had an exit that was absolutely flat. Or maybe you lost a point or two at worst, right? But that was it. The next setup comes, right? If this, you want to call this swing low, 1826 and a quarter, right? So 1832, technically you have a huge swing here, but even from here, this swing low up, this is another 6 points, comes right to the bottom of the zone. This is your next location for a valid trade entry. It gave you, I think it's almost a 6-point rotation. I'll have to go look at the ticks and see what the low tick was, right? And on this particular trade, you have garnered your 2 points right here. It paid you your 2 points. You're out of the trade. That's all I'm trying to achieve. So for today, if you followed my trading rules at optimal, right? You were flat here. You took a second trade here prior to and the ideal, let me correct that. The ideal entry is prior to 11:30, guys, not past 11:30. We're already well into New York lunch. So even if you skip this, right? This was the only valid trade this morning. My methodology is not designed to figure out which way the market's going to run from the open. I'm simply trying to stack day over day of high odds trades, win after win, 1 or 2 trades a day, right? And I'm trying to increase my trade size as I move along. So in that vein, let's go see what happened yesterday and see how that would have looked on your P&L had we followed those exact same set of rules. So looking at the 13th, okay, this area right here, this starts New York lunch, okay? This is the first time into this zone. The high was 1836. The rotation down was to not even 1832. There's a 4-point rotation here. There's no entry off the open, but the zone has been tested, number one, okay? We clearly had trades and we clearly rejected out of the zone. From, let's call it 1832, right, will put us at 1838. Unfortunately, it was 1832 and a quarter, so 1838 and a quarter was my rotation that I was looking for. I had a limit to short here. It didn't get filled, okay? I missed it. It was the high tick of the day. You could not have done better. 177 contracts went off. No trade, right? So when you sit there and you go, no trade, you go, okay, I didn't get filled. This ends the optimal time of the day, right? There should not have been, if you are only looking for the highest odds play of the day, after 11 o'clock, you should be eating lunch somewhere. That's Central Time, 12 o'clock New York. You should be having lunch, swimming in your pool, going for a run. The easiest part of the day is over. If your trade plan calls for you for taking more risk beyond that, then go ahead. That's your call. My job is to simply help make you aware as a coach of where it's easiest to make money and easiest to protect your backside so you keep the money. It's not to keep you busy trading all day, okay? So again, here was the entry. I didn't get filled. I had a few clients that took 1835 3/4 for whatever reason they did. It was a good trade. Congratulations. But we still exceeded, even if you got filled, right? We still exceeded the 25 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. At this point, you have to decide what you're going to do. Are you going to move the stop to the top of the zone and take a 2-point stop? Are you going to move it so that you have a 1-point stop? Are you going to move it 2 ticks past the high? I don't have a set formula there for what works. All I know is I'm ready to pull in my limits if I got filled at that point very quickly, both on NQ and DS. Most of my trades work quicker than 25 minutes again to get a scale, right? But even with that, let's say you decided to trade past the balance of the day. So this is the first move in. This is second move in. This is third move in. Third move in flushes yesterday, right? We move down. We get into initial support. We're right over New York lunch. They tried to hold it. It paused there for a moment right in front, and then it flushed. Again, this time of day is dangerous. I hate trading it. It's exactly where we're at right now, right? Hate trading this time of day. You'll see me say that over and over again. We rotate down. We clearly have a nice fat rotation at this point. And if you look, we came right off the top of this 18.20 and 3/4, and we rotated up to 18.22. I don't know what the high was here. Here, I can find out really quick, but the high was 18.2250. It went 7 of 8 ticks, right? It went 7 ticks on the ask. So you barely missed it. When I get a trade like this, if I went in here, I get 7 ticks and I can't get the 8th, okay, I'm pretty damn nervous. I'm probably moving my stop up to break even. I like scales. I might even take a scale at 4 ticks or 5 ticks to protect my downside and give myself a little bit of breathing room here. In addition, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. You didn't have to take a full stop here because you could have simply said, it's been 25 minutes. I'm putting my stop right at the back of the zone, or I'm going to flat it, or I'm just going to get out right here. 25 minutes has gone by. I'm done. We get down to the next zone. Let's move this over here. Again, I was trying to find a trade location here. I took the trade at the top of this zone, right? As you can see, I survived this trade for a long time. This is the first 5-minute count, the first time in. I've entered here 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes. And on all of these trades, right, for my entry, I think I was in 18, 13 and 3/4. I have to go back and look at my fill yesterday. Okay, I had plenty of time to either flat or get out of this trade. Yeah, it was brutal. That kind of sucked, but you know, happens sometimes. It's just part of the deal. I try not to care about it, Toby, too much. He was talking about not getting filled by a tick at the high. And occasionally that happens. Just nothing you can do, right? 25 minutes. I can choose to get out of this trade, right? And take little to no loss on this thing, right? Considering the free fall we're in, right? That's a good deal here. Now, what was I trying to accomplish with that? What I was trying to accomplish is what we got today. I figured at some point buyers were going to step in and drive us back up into this 1828 area. It didn't work out for me. No big deal. But if I chose to manage it that way, which is my least amount of risk, right? Yesterday was pretty much a nothing day. Nothing bad happened. You might have been down a little bit. So let's go to another day and see if that would have applied exact same rules to another day. Let's go look at the 10th, right? I don't remember what happened on the 10th, but I have it pulled up. Okay, here we go. On the 10th, we open up. We get a rotation up. This is approximately, let's call it 1835 to 1838. 3-point rotation here. Nothing to do. Again, if you're an aggressive trader and you think we're going to reject out of this zone right here, just to make sure everyone can see it, to make sure everyone can reject out of this zone, right? And you want to take it and you're willing to take your stop on this trade, knock yourself out. I do it quite frequently, right? But I keep close stats as to whether I'm making money or not. And I might tighten it up, right? Because I may be reading the dome. But again, I've been doing this for 20 years. The idea behind this is not to show everyone what a great trader I am. It's to get people to stop losing their own money, right? And give them a hope or a glimpse of the path they need to follow to make a lot of money, which is what we all want, right? If I start losing my ass with these small trades, I'll drop them in a heartbeat. Okay, I promise you that. If my intraday, I have a day trading methodology set up where I'm scalping just for a few ticks sometimes, not NES, mostly NQ, right? I have swing trades that I set up. But if those things start to fail, right, or I start to take a drawdown, I go right back to this base methodology and make sure that my P&L is constantly knocking against new highs because this keeps me safe. I can take several days of what's going on right now and not lose any significant sum of money and not even bat an eye. I'm not trying to make money every single day. I'm trying to grow my account every single day, but only by doing it properly. So again, no trade here. Nice fat rotation down here, right? You'll see that we had over a 6-point rotation. Your location from the top to the bottom was valid. You took a little bit of heat behind, right? But if you had a 2-point stop, you were fine. And we rotated up. If you took this trade middle to the back of the zone, you easily garnered 2 points. Again, if you didn't take middle to the back of the zone, you took the top of the zone, we didn't quite reach 8 ticks. We went 7 ticks. Again, I'm tightening up at that point. If you also look at the time frame, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes now without a scale, right? I don't want to let this go negative on me. I might take 4 ticks and negotiate with the thing, move the thing 4 ticks back on the balance. I might take 3/4 of the trade off for 4 ticks and try to let the last one survive. I don't know. I'll make that decision in the morning when I'm trading based on the P&L for my first trade, right? But I'm not lamenting missing this. This wasn't my ideal setup. This is my ideal setup. I can get out without paying any cost. I got to test the market for free, essentially, on this trade, or even make a little bit of money. I've accomplished my goal. Moving on, right? The high swing high is 1832 here, right? A 6-point rotation puts us right back. Actually, it's 1832 1/4. 6-point rotation back puts us to 1826. Or is that correct? Yeah, 1826 1/4, right at the top. Again, this is a situation, I don't know anyone that could have gotten filled. I think 70 contracts went off at this price, okay? I certainly didn't get filled. I would have loved to gotten in here. I mentioned on this particular day that I was actually all right coming out. I believe this is the day where I said I'm all right to come out and play at this point. I'm not sure, but I would have loved to gotten filled here. Didn't get the fill. And as you can see, the reason why I try to tag these things off and leave a trailer is you get a rotation from 1826 1/4 all the way up to 1838. That's nice. By the way, looking at the flip side, right? I'm not shorting this zone. Why? There's no rotation here. This is a 3-point zone. You're asking for trouble on this rotation in, right? There's no reason. This zone's already been tested from the downside. So when we come down here like this, right? Everyone's asking why I'm not taking these trades. This zone has been well tested back over here. So I'm not interested over here, right? Could have it worked? Sure. Is it lower odds? Yes. Not interested. Moving on. This trade right here to take a short here is 2 things working against you. First of all, we're past the 11:30 time zone, right? Secondly, last hour of the day. I hate taking contra trades last hour of the day. There was tick divergence here. One of my clients actually took a short here, and I was questioning that. But it was there. There was tick divergence, but it was the end of the day, right? If this came about in the morning, you would have gotten a nice rotation down, just like we did the following day, right? It turned out to be a good trade location. How many of us are willing to take a huge concentrated position overnight? Not my exact cup of tea. Okay, so I think I covered that there. Let's go look at the 8th and see if this would have been any different. So we come in on the 8th. We have the exact same requirements. The swing high here was approximately 1832.50, right? So that brings us back to 1826.50 as your entry, which would have put you right about the middle of this zone. This is what I'm talking about right here. There. 2-point rotation. If you left a trailer, great. You made money. That's awesome. Next, we obviously get another 6-point rotation up into the zone. Front of the zone works fine, right? Now here you have a decision to make. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. 25 minutes, you got to decide, are you going to put your stop at the top of the zone, a tick behind the zone, or are you going to cover it break even? Doesn't matter. You either had break even, a small loss, or you got your 2-point profit. But this is what you can't do here, okay? You can't go, sometimes I'm going to stick out the 25 minutes, right? And other times I'm not going to stick out the 25 minutes, because what that does in your head is it creates indecision. What your brain's going to go is, well, how do I decide whether I take it this time or I don't take it this time? And I've been trying to figure that out forever. I have no parameter that lets me know, hey, I'm well off this time. Occasionally, with tick divergence, I will stick it out a little bit longer, but I've even had that bust on me. So you just have to decide to make it easy on yourself. 25 minutes, what am I going to do? Leave the stop as is and tough it out? I'm going to move the stop to break even. I'm going to close the trade, or whatever X is. Have it written in your trade plan. Execute it properly. On this particular day, you have one profitable trade, maybe a nice trailer, right? You either have a slight loser, a break even, or a profitable trade here. There's no trade here. It's the second time into the zone. This is the gap fill. There is no trade here, okay? This is the third time in. Again, this was a balanced day, So what you're going to see on balanced days is that, hey, multiple moves into the zone work. That's true, but if you can't identify that on days where we're non-balanced, each time it moves into the zone, the risk increases that it's going to break. And if you're all right with that risk, cool, no worries. But if you're not, if you're going to take a stop, you're going to take the third trade in and then it stops you, you can't cry about it either, right? There's no crying in trading anyways, right? It's not even baseball. We're all supposed to have balls around here, whether you're women or man, right? So take the trade that's going to fit your parameter and don't cry when it doesn't work for you. We're simply going to balance the thing as well as we can. If I only want the highest odds trades, this is exactly how I'm going to manage each and every trade, and I'm going to let everything else go. I don't care about it, right? All I care about is putting money in my account. To this point, the guy who's trading this, I'm pretty sure is profitable, including today, to this point, or slightly even, which is fine considering the market we had yesterday and today, straight down, straight up. So let's see, that's 8th, 10th. This is the 13th, 14th. And let's just pull up one more random day just to see what we'll have, and then we'll close it out. Let's see what I have here. I did 8th. Let's go see what, heck, I don't know. Let's go back in time a little bit and see what we looked at. Not too far back. Let's go look at, well, that was right before Christmas. That all sucked. Let's go back and look at the 18th, see what happened there. You know what? When did we roll over the contract? I'm not sure this is going to fit. Scratch that. Let's do another date because I don't remember when we rolled over the new contract. So let's do where we were sure that we had that. Let's go look at January 3rd. Okay. With the new contract rolling over, the prices would have looked weird. It wouldn't have fit the chart. Okay, wow, this looks like a good day to look at anyways, right? So we open up, right? From low to high, right? We never get to the white zone to begin with, and we never get to the support zone. There's no trade to be made here, right? Everyone sees that. There's no trade here. We now have a swing high at approximately, let's just call that 35.62 for conversation. That means my first trade location is going to be 62? Wow, that's 35.56 if I'm correct with my math, and I'm dyslexic, so God knows if I am. But so 35.56, there's no zone there. That puts the top of this zone right here as my first valid trade location. I take the trade here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. Or if you want to count from the first stick, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, right? Super. So we're 25 minutes in. I have a choice now. Am I going to just flatten the trade? Am I going to take it to right behind the back of the zone? How am I going to handle this? Either way, you had a way out of this trade. Even if it was right here, you didn't have to take a full 4-point stop, right? 2 points behind the zone. 25 minutes, right? When we start ticking towards that, I get itchy again. And this lays out why I am repeatedly. Also, when we talk about gap fill, half gap, right? So we came in, we got gap fill on this trade, right? This is where we closed. We got a little above gap fill, and then we fell below and stayed below. So we know that if the market was super strong, right, we would have been trading above gap fill. So we know that sellers have a bit of an edge. Also, and I didn't talk about this, but where are we in relationship to the white zone, right? White zone acts like kryptonite. The closer we are to it, the more influence it has. The further away, the less influence it has, right? So I'm more and more willing to take a contra trade the further we get away. So that being said, here's the first trade, right? Nothing happened. Next trade location. This would have been my trade right here. Okay, at this point, what do we have? We're approaching New York lunch, right? We entered the zone. I would have to look at a 1 minute. We actually tagged here, and I do not know if we rotated high enough to get a 2-point rotation out. I have no idea. I know we tagged the top. Let's see. We can find out. Top of the zone. Okay, so I'm going to assume the high was 35.41. Depends on how this bar formed as to what you might have gotten your 2 points here. I don't know, but you certainly got a rotation up the first time it hit here. We can go back and look at the 1 minute in a second and see if that shows us or not, right? We might have gotten the 2 point rotation. We'll go back and look. If not, right, your stop should have been 2 points behind the zone. That's 35, 34 and 3/4, 35, 32, 3/4. So back of the zone, 35, 31, 75. So we either got stopped here, right, -4 from the top of the zone, or we got out here +2. We'll go back and look at that in a minute. So far, you're doing okay through this process, right? You come down to this zone, it gave you no fill whatsoever, right? You're not shorting here. Why are you not shorting here? There's no rotation up, right? Then if you move down the line a little bit, and let's do that. If you look here, right, it's late in the day, even if you're an aggressive trader, right? Let's call this 35, 31, 50 as the low. That means I need 30, 35. Excuse me, I'm on an NQ chart. I apologize. Now I know why things look screwy. Never trust the guy with ADD to think he's knowing exactly what he's doing. Let me go back and recount this, guys. I so apologize. Where are we? January 5th. Oh, there we are. Just saw it. There we are. It's like, I don't remember that day being so bad, but let's go look. 14. Okay, here we go. Boom, this is easier. Oh, that looks a little more reasonable, guys. Okay, here we go. Low on this trade. The low was 18.28. First place I can take a trade is at 18.34. I don't get it. It moves into the white zone. The white zone's a high odds location, but not a big enough rotation down. Okay? No big deal. Next area I have to look at to consider a trade here is right here in this zone. It never sets up. So guess what? In all of this balanced day, I don't lose any money, right? We just balance. It rejected out of the white zone multiple times. This is, by the way, if you'll go look on the charts, why I take white zones again and again, because it's an easy setup for me, but it does not meet the 6 point rotation. So through all of that, what I wanted to show you is when the markets start behaving, right, and we can get around and we can wrap our arms around the daily routine, right, what this does is it minimizes our loss, assuming you're looking at an ES chart versus an NQ chart, right, minimizes the losses, maximizes the opportunity because those rotations pitch you in a nice location to be stretched. Once we get to a stretch plus good trade location, the odds switch to your favor, right? So that when we end up with days like this, days like, where are we? Yesterday, right? Where we're just getting run over day after day after day, or zone after zone. It at least gives you a heads up if you will minimize to your time of day. Good Lord, I hate this. Here we go. Right? It'll minimize you to your time of day. We'll give you the highest odds locations by time of day, right? It'll minimize avoiding trading the lunch hour, getting smoked through here, and that 25-minute rule will keep you from getting smoked in general by being able to reduce to mostly small losses, right? And then when the trading is working, which happens, by the way, 80-90% of the days, these trades work for me and in very nice fashion, right? So then I don't have to sweat it each and every time that the market starts to fall apart. I already know. Avoid all this crap. 25 minutes, I need to trade for profit. 6 point rotation. Who's in control, buyers or sellers, right? We have half gap or gap fill. That avoids me stepping in and getting run over through all of this unless I'm taking the super aggressive trades. I think that really covers what I was trying to get across. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I was trying to make this relatively short. I have a bad habit of going on and on. And so the floor is open for questions. You can ask them or we'll close it out. Was this helpful? Okay, good guys. Okay, great. Thanks guys. I appreciate it. If there's anything else I can do, let me know. The only reason why I'm doing this, guys, the coaching and doing the daily, putting out the trades in general, right, is because too many people just get their ass kicked in trading. There's too many people that double their accounts only to give them all back, right, because you get one type of market. The key to the whole thing is to survive all markets. You can't trade every market perfectly. You're going to get your ass kicked occasionally. You're going to have losses occasionally. The key is to make those down days as small and minimal as possible and to maximize your up days. How do you do that? First, you build your account, then you start leaving trailers as you increase your trade size, and you consistently increase your trade size as you stay disciplined and you execute properly. Yes, it's boring, but before you know it, you'll be making a ton of money. How can I get your ideas in the mornings? I do, David, I do a market preview in the AM. I post it on StockTwits and Twitter. I usually do it at 8 a.m. and I post the link. I'm trying to post it somewhere between 6:30 a.m. and 7:30 a.m. Central Time. Starts at 8 a.m. And then I post the charts on StockTwits and Twitter as well. So if you just follow me there, you'll get them automatically. And for right now, it's free. I'm not sure how long I'm going to keep it for free for, but for now, it is free. Yeah, sure. Just for now. So the idea is, at any rate, long story short, guys, you don't have to blow up your account futures trading. Futures trading is not necessarily easy. So I'm trying to create a somewhat easier system to create your trading decision. This is what I've done. This is the exact same way that when I had traders working for me at the hedge fund, that this is the same way I trained them. I didn't care how many bajillions they made when things were good because they totally got smoked when things got bad, right? So I needed to find a way to just keep it to how does it look when things get good and minimize my downside when things get bad. And this is what I came up with. Do you put a number in the zone? Numbers for the white zone. I don't understand the question. Do I put numbers for the white zone? Can you say that? Can you explain? In the morning. Yeah, I put out the whole chart. The chart comes looking naked, like this. Here, let me see if I can find it. This is the chart I put out. I put one out to my clients that has notes, and then I put out one just for the general public that doesn't have notes on it. But this is it. This is how the zones come in the morning. I usually release that at 7:30. Does that help you, Adbrock? Okay, no problem. And I put that out for both NQ and ES. NQ is significantly harder to trade than ES is, by the way. So if you're trying to decide, what's easier, what's harder, ES is easier on a contra trade basis. ES is, by the way, harder on a momentum basis than NQ is. NQ has much better momentum trading than ES does. So it just matters what your style is. And remember, especially if y'all are new to this room, right? Make sure your trading style matches your personality, right? And that your stops not only match, right, what your P&L can handle in terms of a loss, but that they also appropriately match what the trade demands. NQ demands a certain stop. ES demands a certain stop, right? So, for example, on NQ, if you can only afford a 1-point stop on NQ, let's say, right? Well, NQ demands usually a bigger stop than 1 point. You're going to find yourself having a lot of losses on a regular basis, right? That's why I put in a 10-point stop. It's a ginormous stop. I don't get hit all the time except on days like today. It sucks, right? But it does happen. But I get paid pretty big when NQ works out for me. I get paid really nicely. So anyways, got to go. Everyone, have a great day. My pleasure. I'm going to go grab something for lunch. Good luck at the end of the afternoon. I will not be trading this afternoon. So see y'all later, guys.